Today we're going to be going over some fantastic cheap fragrances that can really compete with the much more expensive designer and even niche scents. Big brands and expensive brands are great. Love them, right? They generally are kind of leading the way as far as innovation in the fragrance world, kind of molding and shaping all of the trends that we go for. Usually it's a result of those big top brands, your YSLs, Dior's, Chanel's, Gucci's, and some other niche brands, you know, PDM, Creed and stuff, kind of helping pave the way. But some of these kind of more affordable, more kind of entry-level designer affordable scents can really do a good job at kind of competing with those. This first one is St. Barts by Tommy Bahama. There's nothing else out there like it. Now, you're going to see this compared pretty heavily to Virgin Island Water by Creed. Aside from theory, that's about the only thing that's close. Everything else, scent and general style of the scent is quite a bit different. Virgin Island Water is a rum, sugar, coconut scent. This one is a tequila, lime, and salt scent. They could not smell further apart, really. But the general idea is the same, where it's kind of a summery, fresh, tropical smelling scent. It smells like something that you would wear lounging on the beach or on vacation. That is what this smells like. So does Virgin Island Water. That one, the Creed, is much more sweet. This one is way, way more bright and fresh. It's $20, eau de cologne, but man, I'm serious when I say that there's nothing else out there like it. The smell is truly one of a kind. You're gonna see the comments. It's too weak, doesn't last long enough, this and that. That is probably true. I mean, you know, eau de cologne concentration, that's as low as you get. But if you spray it on heavy, maybe you reapply it or whatever you got to do, it's worth making it work. It's really, really good. I love using it just as kind of a room freshener, something to spray on your towels before you head out to the pool or to the beach for the day, something like that. It just has that smell that gets you in the summer mood. This next one is Lacoste L'Homme, just the original. Nice orange and rhubarb combination here with some light woods, but it's mostly all about the orange and the rhubarb. Perfect for spring. It's soapy, clean, fruity, musky, a little bit aromatic, smells wonderful. You can generally pick this one up for around $35 to $40, very reasonable. And it smells very high quality as well. Something that doesn't really fit the bill of your general cheapy scent, you know, it smells more expensive than that. For what it's worth, it's pretty unique as well. Now, another great option is Lacoste L'Homme Intense. Pretty much the same smell, just a little bit stronger, hence intense. You could go that way too, and price point is pretty similar. And just kind of take your pick. Most instances, it might make more sense to buy the intense version. Now, for me, I really enjoy this one. Love it. It's just another one that is refreshing, uplifting, and just kind of puts you in a good mood. You know, you smell that stuff and man, it is nice. Super easygoing, very easy to wear for any situation. Okay, we're gonna go with a Layton clone up next. Of course, Layton, truly kind of a pioneer in some way or another, as far as one, it's been cloned a million times, but also just that style of scent has really inspired a lot of other scents as well, even not clones, but just things that kind of do a similar twist on Layton, you know, with their own touch. But this one in particular is Amber Oud Exclusive Blue by Unknown. I mean, you guys kind of know the whole weird scenario with Amber Oud, right? Because these aren't actually Al Haramain, even though they look like it, right? And they kind of sound like it. They're technically not, I guess. I don't know enough about it at all to where I'm even going to attempt to explain it, and I don't care at all either. I mean, I remember seeing people get mad that, you know, some other company or entity was emulating another clone brand, when it's kind of like, let's step back and look at the big picture here and see what these clone brands are doing. You know, let's not get too worked up over that. But I digress. This is a fantastic Layton clone. Super close. Way better quality than Detour Noir. And keep in mind, I love Detour Noir as well. $25 to $30 for that one, sometimes even $20. You can't beat it. But this one is more premium. Better ingredients, better smell, better longevity. You pay a bit more for it, so that's one of the things that are different there, but still nowhere near as much as you're paying for Layton, and that difference in price to me is well justified with this. Even just the upgrade of the presentation, you know, you don't have paint on the bottle, you've got nice kind of fake looking gold plating there, just more heavy duty bottle presentation. Everything about this one is worth getting, in my opinion. Let's go for Rocus Man Intense. Love that they brought this back, because Rocus Man Intense was a thing several years ago, and then they discontinued it. Then here, just within the past few years, they reintroduced it, and it's that cappuccino fir balsam smell that you get from the original. It's just, well, more intense and not a whole lot more expensive either. So it's another scenario where it kind of just makes sense to get this one. Now, Rocus Man itself isn't really a clone. It's kind of its own original creation. They're focusing in on the coffee. Now, you could compare it to some other coffee style scents out there, but ultimately it still kind of does its own thing. What I love so much about this is the fact that it's a cappuccino note, not just coffee. So it's kind of a creamier take on your usual coffee scent, which means it's a lot more wearable. And in my opinion, I view it as more mass pleasing than your usual coffee scent as well. So it's going to reach a lot more people at a higher success rate. Chrome Extreme, of course, by Azzaro. You know, I don't think the original Chrome is probably worth investing in these days. Not even really much of an investment. You're looking at about 20 bucks or whatever for Chrome. You can probably get a huge 200 ml bottle for, you know, not too far off of that. But I just think your options as far as the flankers go are way better, and just scents outside of the line are significantly better as well. So Chrome Extreme, Chrome Parfum, Chrome Eau de Parfum, Chrome Pure is good. And then just, you could go for a number of things outside of the line too. I just don't see the original Chrome being worth a purchase, but these flankers are considerable improvements, really good. Extreme, in this instance, kind of has a bit of that Acqua di Gio Profondo smell, that orange, mineral, kind of sea note, aquatic thing going on. Now, this doesn't have the mineral notes down as close as Profondo does. It's a lot more prominent in Profondo. This one has it a little bit, not as much, but it does have that orange, the sea notes, the general idea and style of Profondo, just at a fraction of the cost. Typically, $35, $40 for this, and Profondo is up over $100. Decent performance out of Chrome Extreme, super wearable, pretty much any day, every day in the spring or summertime. Fresh, uplifting, and with a little bit of a kind of somewhat classiness to it. You know, generally Profondo, I'm wearing it casual, but if you had a situation where you wanted to be a bit more dressed up, Profondo, Chrome Extreme would work in that instance. This next one's about $35. It is Bentley for Men Absolute Dry Cedar Wood with some pink pepper, some papyrus, giving it kind of the smokiness. Pink pepper, giving it a spiciness, obviously. And then a note that is not listed off, but you cannot escape off the opening, is this kind of rum, boozy kick that mostly exists off the opening and kind of dissipates as it dries down. You could just say it's perfumer's alcohol, but if that's the case, it's one of the sweetest and most natural, non-synthetic smelling perfumer alcohol smells that I've ever smelled. Basically, I don't think that's it. You know, it kind of makes sense, but when you actually smell this, man, there's a very, very sharp, spiced rum kind of whiskey note that you get immediately. And like I said, that does go away, so if that doesn't sound good to you, it will work itself off. But off the top, man, you get that, and that's what I like about it too. It's something that you're not expecting, but when you smell it, you're okay with it. And as I mentioned to start, I think it's $35 for this usually. Testers, maybe around $30. Super reasonable for a high quality, great performing scent that is traditional. This smells nothing like what you're used to smelling today with all these new releases being sweet, more sweet, bubblegummy, amber oxide sage, right? You know, aromatic and a blue scent style. This is none of that. This is more old school, and I love it. XX Artisan, or Artisan XX. Let's get down to the bottom of it. XX Artisan. I had it right the first time, by John Varvatos. First things first, I love that bottle, that gray with kind of a metallic flake to it. Looks very sharp. It's got vetiver, bitter orange, and bergamot. So with that orange, it ties back to the original Artisan. That's what that stuff's all about. A few different types of orange in Artisan. That's basically what it is. So you get that here, but then you get a lot of vetiver, and the vetiver is the star of the show. A nice soapy, clean, wearable vetiver. That note has a ton of utility. I mean, a good vetiver scent could be worn for any situation, any time of the year. Think of your gray vetivers by Tom Ford, your Roja Parfum vetiver, so many more. You know, Guerlain vetiver, that one's a little bit more smoky, a little bit more woody, and maybe not quite as versatile. But this one here more falls into the line of a gray vetiver as far as usability. In terms of scent, they don't really smell alike, but it's one where you can use it just as much as you could use gray vetiver, which is basically all the time, every day as a signature scent. It is wonderful and very reasonably priced, generally mid $40 range. Let's go for Missoni Parfum up next. Man, this stuff is great, and you've heard of it before. Similar price, about 40 bucks. Nice magnetic cap on this one as well. Birch, grapefruit, basically what it's all about. Woody with a bit of a grapefruit opening, but it's not all that bright, not all that fresh. It's mostly woody and a bit sweet. It gets compared to Bleu de Chanel, but there are a lot of differences. It doesn't have the same bright grapefruit, doesn't have the incense, doesn't have even the same type of woody undertone. They're different, you know. In a similar category, sure, I could get behind that. But as far as, you know, this being a Bleu de Chanel clone or alternative as far as smelling similar, I don't view it that way. That being said, I'm not discrediting the scent. And in fact, I think that's a good thing. I mean, it's kind of doing its own thing here, which is maybe not as common these days. Missoni Wave is really good as well. Take your pick. They're both really nice. Wave is more summer oriented, whereas this one is more general all year round oriented. And we're going to finish this video off with CH Men, just the original. Now, forgive me, this is the old style bottle. The new style bottle is what you would buy, and they are basically the same. Okay, there's not enough of a difference to where it matters in the grand scheme of things. This is just what I have on hand. It's, I mean, so unique. Grass, leather, sugar. How often do you see that? Not very often. And it sounds weird. You might think, okay, that's cool, you know, but what are the notes? Like, what are they actually? You know, do you really smell those? And yeah, you really do pick up on each of those. Leather, okay. A nice fresh leather. Kind of a green, grassy, kind of almost violet leaf type of smell. And then a bit of a sugary sweetness. It is phenomenal. This stuff is criminally underrated these days. You just don't hear about it. And a lot of that's just because it's just kind of the first in the line. And when there are flankers, granted, the flanker of this did get discontinued pre-Bay, you kind of start to forget about that original. Do not forget about the original CH Men. There's nothing else out there like this. Alrighty guys, that's going to do it for me. Some affordable fragrances that really hold up to much more expensive designer and niche scents. I will drop links to all these down below in the product tagging section. You can click on screen and those links will take you right there. Thank you guys so much for watching. Stay safe, stay healthy. We'll see you tomorrow with another one. Take care.